Are you making money with your tips? Like, really, how good are your tips? Hi, my name is Levi, and this is The Daily Drive. The Daily Drive is brought to you by Tonquin. I'm just a big fan of Tonquin, and I've worked with them for many years. They were the original sponsors of this show. And with Tonquin, what you do is you take them from auto parts suppliers and you take them to repair shops. It works just like any other gig app. Basically, you turn it on, there'll be offers that were given to you, and then you can choose to pick which ones you want. Tonquin's great, especially during those slow times of day, like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. when there's just not a lot of Uber passengers or rideshare passengers. Take a look at Tonquin. They're really good. Go click on the link below and let the team at Tonquin know that Levi sent you. Tips are just a really big part of being a rideshare driver. I think that tips are the one thing I focus on the most. There was an article in CBS News where it basically asked, how often do Lyft and Uber customers tip their drivers? Maybe less than you think. It's an article written by Kate Gibson. I'm going to read to you a couple of quick pull quotes here. Only some 28% of rideshare trips result in tips, according to a recently released report by Gridwise Analytics. That's 28%. That's pretty small. And it says, by contrast, if you get delivery at a restaurant or something like that, it's roughly 88 and 74% of that range are getting tips. Now, the cool thing about that is we know there's upfront tips, right? So if we're going to do Uber Eats or DoorDash, that tip is going to be upfront. That's why probably most of them are getting tips. The challenge with Uber, according to this article, is that for almost a decade, Uber didn't want passengers to tip, but they've allowed tipping, at least since I've been driving for over 4 years. So tipping is a big part of what we do. Now, for me, I get a lot of tips. Looking at my data here, over the last 12 months, 39% of my passengers have tipped me. Let's see here. My average tip is $3.71, and I make $5.13 per hour in tips. And tips represent 19.4% of the fare. The way I measure it is my goal is to get a tip on every single trip. Now, obviously, only 39% tip me, but that's better than the 28%. And I'm taking really short trips. And I've heard it like everybody else. They'll say it's market dependent. Trust me, it is and it isn't. There are drivers in my market that say nobody tips in our market, but obviously I'm getting tips. Yeah, it's a big thing. So I wanted to give you some advice, maybe some ideas to help you earn tips. And I'm going to assume you have a clean car. I'm going to assume you're a professional driver. That's table stakes. If you want to get tips, you have to have a clean car and you have to be a professional driver. Now, what are some things that you can do over and above maybe to get some tips? The first thing you can do is set the stage. I do this with a couple of things. Number one is I do it with music. And the second thing I do is I do it with lights. All right. Now, I drive in a college town, right? So a lot of college kids want to party late at night. So I have lights in my car, not big glamorous lights. They just go under the seats and they give a nice soft glow. And I have a hatchback, and there's some lights back there too that kind of shoot up a little bit. It's just a soft glow. It's not a huge party scene. It's just enough to send that signal that I take this serious. But the music's a big one. I don't listen to my music. I listen to music that I think the passenger wants. So during the day when I'm driving, I'm taking people, let's say, to the grocery store, or I'm taking them wherever to work. Doesn't really matter. I'm listening to soft jazz. I'm trying to set the stage. That's going to be a nice, peaceful, relaxing ride. And when the night comes and I see the kids coming to my car, the students, the college kids, hey, I turn the music up a little bit more and have a playlist. I have a playlist of music that I like, but it's really designed around the college students. So people like Gorillaz or Tame Impala or Taylor Swift. And there's a bunch of other ones, Frank Ocean. And I have a 10-song playlist. And I'm so intentional about it. I'll give you a good example. If a student likes a particular song and I hear that they like that song, I'm going to add it to my playlist. And what I do is I hit play the minute they open the door. Like, because I want to set the stage. So they're not going to get a song midstream. They're going to get in the car and the music is okay. You're into my car and they're going to hear the song right at the beginning. And you might think that's not helping with my tips. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what I do. Here's another thing that I do. The one sentence rule. It's this idea of trying to be quick with my response so that way they can spend more time talking. In fact, I follow up with this idea of I ask more questions than I give answers to. Good example is this, and you've all done this before. Passengers will ask, where am I from? Especially college students. They're not from the local area, so they're going to be like, well, where are you from? And I answer with one word or one sentence. Hey, I'm from Hawaii. And you can hear them. They're already responding. And what I'm going to say, because I don't want to talk about me, is I'll say, where are you from? I'm going to turn it back on them. I want to hear where they're from. And of course, if they're going to want to talk about Hawaii, I'll say something like, oh, that's nice to hear. Have you been there? What was it like when you went to Hawaii? So instead of talking about me and what I want to talk about, I'm trying to facilitate them talking about what they want to talk about. And a lot of Ubers, I tell you, this is like the biggest thing. If you can hold a good conversation where the passenger feels like they're talking about what they want to talk about, clean car, professionalism, that's a great way to get tips. All right. Another thing is signage. Now, I've seen like the little plastic signs you can put on the back of your car. They're generic. I've upped the game. I have an iPad, and on that iPad, I have a trivia thing that I've created about the things that kind of interest me, like who won the World Cup and who won the World Series, or what's the best movie, and I have all these questions, and I have memojis, pictures of me as their driver. But the trivia is interesting, and that's fun, and it does spark a conversation, and you can hear the passengers get excited about it. But it does another thing. About every 3 or 4 minutes, I just say, hey, thank you for your reviews, your 5-star reviews, and your tips. Now, already thanking them for something that they may or may not do, but I want to let them know, and it's a way of prompting them to know that I can get tips, and I appreciate tips. Now, here's the final thing, though. Between signage and setting the stage and all that kind of stuff, how you talk. If you've ever worked in business or in sales, you got to ask for the sale. This is a hard one for most people, but I promise you'll be fine. Ask for a tip, especially if they ask you for a favor. Hey, can I stop off at that place to get cigarettes? No problem. My pleasure. And when we arrive at the destination, hey, don't forget to tip. Does that mean they're going to tip? Maybe not. And I think we think it might be offensive if we ask for tips. And I understand that. It might be rude, you think, to ask for tips. But the reality is that's part of our business. So here's a great way to do this. Now, let me take a step back here. The reason why it's important for you to ask for a tip is because the transaction's already completed. So think about it from the passenger's perspective. They go on, they order an Uber or Lyft or whatever, and they go in and they make that order, and then the car comes. They may not go back into the app until 2 weeks later when they're going to order their next car. So the only way they can give us a tip, at least through the app, is to go back into the app and do that. So I want to prompt them to do it as soon as possible. And they can do that during the trip. They don't have to wait for the trip to end. They can actually log back in to their phone and tip you during the ride. And that's the best time to prompt them to go in. That's why I have signage, right? To hopefully get them to go back into the app. And the way I do it is I ask for a review about a minute to 2 minutes before we arrive at the destination. As the trip is ending, are we going to be going over there? Is this the right place or whatever? Hey, if you get a chance, can you please sign back into the app and leave me a review? Those reviews are really helpful. And if I've done them a favor, or if they've been over the top, or if they've promised a tip, I'll say something like, hey, your reviews are great. Before we arrive at the destination, can you leave a review and that tip? Thank you so much. Tips are great. Tips are a great way to make money. I made a little over $4,000 in tips last year, and I consider that a major part of my earnings. I take a lot of short trips. I'm taking 3 to 4 to 5 trips in an hour. And I'm in a market that people say college kids don't tip. And I get tips. I get tips at 39%, not the 28% of the average. I'm not doing airport runs. I'm not doing the ones that the vacationers. Those are the ones that you get the most tips. I'm doing the grunt work. And it's not even college kids. I get tips from taking people to work in the morning. The person that works at the hospital that does the cleaning, they tip. Everyone potentially is a tipper. In fact, if I were to tell you the people that don't tip me, there's two types of people that don't tip me. Number one is a professional going to work or going out. A great example of that is like an MBA student, Master's of Business Administration student, whether it's at Syracuse or Cornell or Binghamton, they don't tip. Same with law students. They don't tip. They're the worst tippers. The next group of people that don't tend to tip me tends to be like local, like low-income partiers. Those ones really don't tip when they're going out. Just young guys that are going out, they don't tip. But college students, they do a great job tipping. And low-income workers or just any worker, they tip. Waitresses tip, right? Anybody that works for tips is going to be a tipper, service workers. All that being said is that tips matter. Tips help us increase our income. I make somewhere between, I don't know, $4 to $5 extra an hour just in tips. That's a lot of money. And I encourage you to think about ways that you can actively increase your tips, because that's something that's in your control. We can't figure out what rides Uber is going to give us. We can try to set it up in a way that maybe we can get the rides, but again, we don't control that. But we do control our car. We control how we can manage our things, and we can control maybe finding ways to get just a little bit more in tips. And that's what I encourage you to do. So please subscribe, go down and comment. Maybe give us your advice. Go to the comment section and let everybody else know what you think are the best ways to get tips. I think a lot of people are going to go in there and say, that's offensive. You shouldn't ask for a tip. I know you. Those people always make comments on. Real quickly, though, let me make sure you know about VOOM. Have you heard about VOOM, rideshare insurance? With VOOM, you only pay for the insurance that you need. So you have a time when you're in the car, right? From here to here. In that time, if you're almost always doing Uber or Lyft, you're covered by Uber and Lyft's insurance. Maybe this little spot over here is all you're actually driving for your own personal needs. VOOM covers that piece. VOOM is in Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, and Tennessee right now. Go to their website, check them out, click on the link below in the description, and let the team at VOOM know that Levi and Tiffany in the app sent you. Be well, be safe, and know that I'm cheering for you. Bye.